Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we look at news from our city, state, and country. We look at your questions, your comments, and suggestions, and we put everything together to try to come up with ideas and inspiration to have a great life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English speaking locals. Today is Friday, April 15. It's Semana Santa Friday, and we can feel the humidity and we can feel the warmth, the heat, and in some parts of the city, we can feel the arrival of many, many tourists. It is always a pleasure to get together with you here, though, when it is quiet and it's not as crazy as out there. Today, as always, we welcome anyone to let us know that you are new to the broadcasts. If that is your case, all you have to do is write the word new in your comment, and we will be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. Birthdays, you name it. If it's your birthday, let us know. If you're watching on YouTube later on today, we're sorry we don't have live commenting on YouTube, but we love the fact that you watch. We love the fact that you subscribe and that you follow our activities through YouTube. And last but not least, if anybody has anything truly important that you want to bring up, as always, we encourage you to add the capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment so we can take a good look at it during our chit chat section at the end. Today, well, everybody is on vacation, and I'm going to prove that. And what that means is that there's not a lot of news out there. Everybody's busy being on vacation. So we're going to go through what we have, and more than likely, we're going to end up a little early, which is why I'm going to invite everyone to play a little game of Ask Anything You Want. Of course, as it relates to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and so forth and so on. But before we do that, let us dive into the news that we do have, which have everything to do with Semana Santa and vacations and very little to do with anything else. As announced yesterday, and considering that this is expected to be a much better Semana Santa than the past couple of years, tourists started arriving Wednesday evening, and heavy traffic continued through the day yesterday, with many vehicles arriving from the Guadalajara metropolitan area, as well as from surrounding states. This being, of course, the closest beach destination to many of them. Vallarta Opina reports that Los Muertos Beach is jam-packed with national and international tourists looking forward to be part of the monumental human soup. I don't know if this photo is from this year or if it's an archival photo, but I would expect it to look like that. And for better or worse, Los Muertos Beach has become the most reliable, if not empirical, method to measure tourism in our city. Meanwhile, at the airport, authorities are expecting 139 operations, that is either arrivals or departures, between yesterday and the end of today. Or more specifically, 74 planes moved yesterday and 65 today. That's a lot of people flying either in and out. And in case you are wondering why you never see people camping in Puerto Vallarta beaches, it is because it is not allowed. You may have never thought about this, but this is different in nearby beaches such as Sayulitas. And friends of mine went to Boca de Tomates yesterday for lunch. Or now I've gotten into this really bad habit of calling it tomato mouth. And they spotted some people tenting there. So if you're a nature lover and you want to go camping in Puerto Vallarta, probably the closest beach where you can do it, at least in the northern part of the city, is Boca de Tomates. But even then and there, I don't know if inspectors are bound to come and crash your party and stop it if you thought you could stay there and go camping. Let's see. Meanwhile, even when the new Insurgentes Street Bridge is finished and working, there is still a lot of finishing work to be done, particularly not only in the market, but also in the river itself, where heavy-duty machinery is busy removing all the construction debris that was left behind. Before you know it, it'll start raining. And if they don't remove that now, it's going to become complicated later on. What's going on elsewhere in Mexico? Well, the story is quite similar. Beaches in Baja California Sur have an 82% hotel occupancy, while and this is similar to what they had before the pandemic. The state is expecting over 140,000 tourists, leaving behind as much as 372 million pesos in revenue in the state's primary destinations. In Guerrero, hotel occupancy is lower at 63.7%, but the highway from Mexico City to Acapulco has been consistently busy, with thousands of tourists choosing to get away from the capital of our country to the nearest beachfront destination, which of course would be Acapulco. North of the country, Sinaloa is expecting a number of visitors arriving through the Durango-Mazatlan Superhighway, and many arriving also from Canada and the United States, not to mention the cruise ships that make stops in Mazatlan and in Puerto Vallarta as well. And in the state of Oaxaca, both Oaxaca City and the beachfront destinations of Huatulco and Puerto Escondido are experiencing an occupancy of about 80%. Similar stories can be told about Nayarit, Veracruz, and Quintana Roo, all states with important and beautiful beach destinations. So you see, everybody is on vacation. What are we going to do about that? Well, we're going to talk about the weather. That's what we're going to do. Today is the perfect day to hijack a fishing boat, says our snarky weatherman. It is 25 degrees, feels like 26. Wow, humidity is low at 43%, and somehow it still feels schwitzy. And our Fahrenheit temperature is 77 degrees. Our weather forecast for today. Oh, and today is Friday. Did I say that? Today is Friday, and we can expect a mostly cloudy day through the day, with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 20. Tomorrow, Saturday, partly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 33, low temperature of 21. And Sunday, it'll be a partly cloudy day with a high temperature of 33 and a low temperature of 20. And you see, we reached the end of our formal news, and it's only 10:40. We don't have anything else important to report. So again, I encourage you to ask anything or share anything that you want as it relates to the Puerto Vallarta experience. I will add to that effect that yesterday I went to the movies, and La Isla looked a little bit busier than usual. There was a lot of activity, but it didn't feel uncomfortable in any way. Nearby shops and restaurants, they all seem to have a lot of activity, but not crazy activity. But it is nice to see that there's a lot of movement throughout the city. Again, after the movies, we walk home, those of us that live here in the Versalles area. And of course, Versalles and Fluvial, you barely feel the difference just because there's not a lot of people moving about. So it was yet another reason why I feel grateful to live in the side of the city where there is not as much drastic change in activity when it comes to vacations. Let me see what we have in terms of comments, and we'll take it from there, and we'll stretch our broadcast as long as it's meant to go. We start with good mornings, which is always a pleasure to read. Thank you so very much. Craig is done with his taxes, returning to his PV home in 2 days, looking forward to being home soon. Excellent. Great good mornings from friends. Good morning, all. So happy to tune in live from the Doggy Rescue in Colonia, Buenos Aires. Kimberly, feel free to let us know what that is about, because I personally am not familiar with the Doggy Rescue in Colonia, Buenos Aires. Maybe other viewers would like to learn more about your activities. Let's see. More good mornings. Den comments. Happy Friday from a very quiet part of Versailles. Yes, again, those of us that live on this side of town can appreciate the fact that, it's still quiet around here, which is absolutely lovely. Susie comments, there was an earthquake last night in San Diego off the coast at Ensenada, Mexico, about 60 miles south of San Diego, around 4 measurements. Seems like no damage. When was the last earthquake in PV? Good question. The last earthquake which caused any significant damage, I don't remember the year, but it was before I got here. And I got here in 2001. And it damaged the cupola, the crown of the church. It fell down and it was replaced. But I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head. Aside from that, we experienced tremors on a regular basis. Sometimes we feel them, sometimes we don't. And we usually report them here because I'm also always curious to see who felt what. Lisa comments, there is camping allowed in Yelapa. That is wonderful. Let's see. Javier gets snarky. I love it. Camping at Boca de Tomates. Oh, how cool. Cozy up by the fire with your favorite crocodile. Yes, there is that. Daniel asks, do you have any special broadcasting plans for Pride? Coffee and Headlines Roadshow. What a good question. I don't, because we are not, although we can be very gay sometimes, we're really not so much of a gay project. But we may recall that on the first year that Coffee and Headlines existed, yes, we did a series of extended coverage during the week of Pride. And of course, we are here to do the coverage that seems relevant to the vast majority of the community. Maybe what we can do, Daniel, and let me know what you think about that, not only you, Daniel, but everybody else, we can do a poll at some point between now and the Gay Pride celebration to find out just how much interest there is to do something specific. Again, there are other entities, primarily my dear friends Joey and Isaac of Gay Guide, and they have this corner well covered. But if you would like to see more Gay Pride coverage, we can either look at comments today, or maybe we can do a survey as the date nears. Usually Gay Pride is towards the end of May here in Puerto Vallarta. Oh, Christy, this makes me so very happy. After the loss of my kitty, the nature gods provided me with 3 lovely little baby squirrels to play with, love and care. See, there's boundless love in your soul, and that's why nature keeps providing you with wonderful creatures to look after. We'd love to see photos of your new little friends if you have any. Let's see. Had an interesting walk yesterday in Colonia López Mateos. They had a Minitiangis on Rio de la Plata. Muchas chingaderas. Yes, they set up tianguis in different parts of the city, Ray. I don't have the latest schedule, but if yesterday was Thursday, somehow this makes me wonder if it is every Thursday. And maybe we should all have a look at what's going on. Speaking of tianguis, I am reminded all of a sudden that today is Friday, and the new tianguis or flea market or mercado or whatever you want to call it here in Colonia Versalles is scheduled to take place tonight. And Brandy, I see your comment as well. Planning a trip to the Versalles market tonight. Went last week, but found it's every other Friday, not every Friday. Yes, we found that out as well, and we realized we had made a small faux pas by announcing it last week. So if you ended up going last week because of our announcement, I apologize. We did try to rebroadcast the fact that it was every other week. I won't be able to go this week as much as I would have wanted to because I'm going to go see a show. Let's see what else we have. Stephanie says, bringing my twin daughters for their 22nd birthday to PV in June. What's the best place to take them to celebrate? Oh, dear. That is such an open question. My first question would be to ask you, where are they coming from? And what is there in Puerto Vallarta that there is not a lot of where they're coming from? So if they're coming from snow, take them to the beach. If they're, and it all has to do with what they like to do and so forth and so on. There are plenty of places to take them for dinner. But being 22, if they like outdoor activities, there's a lot of things to choose from. So maybe Stephanie, feel free to let us know more about your twin daughters and let us know what they like or dislike. And I am sure that we will have all kinds of helpful suggestions here at the cluster. Kathy says, it's 7 weeks too long to start the countdown to arriving in Puerto Vallarta? Hell no. I've been announcing a trip to Guadalajara for how long? Don't get me started. And it's finally happening. So no, I think we should all have a lovely goal to look forward to. And so 7 weeks is not too long. Kathy, put a picture on your fridge. Do whatever you want to do to keep yourself happy and excited about that. This is what I do for myself. Marie asks, am I allowed to take my 6-pound pooch on the bus to Bucerias? How about on city buses? That is such a good question. I can tell you that I don't know the answer. When it comes to suburban buses, like buses that go from one city to another, usually you're expected to have your pet in a cage, and your pet can travel in the luggage department. That sounds kind of creepy to me. I had to do it with Luna when we brought her on a plane to Puerto Vallarta. But because the bus lines are run by different companies, my best suggestion for you, Marie, is to contact the bus lines directly. As far as the city goes, again, I just started riding the city bus for the first time since the pandemic. I think I've used the city bus 3 times since the pandemic. And I honestly don't know what the official policy is. If anybody has specific information about this, please share it with the cluster. It'll be very appreciated. Paco, I know you are in La Vena now, but what other colonias have you lived in within Puerto Vallarta? Pros and cons of each. Gladly, Holly. When I arrived here booking a studio in Emiliano Zapata for 2 weeks while I got my bearings. This studio happened to be on top of Tacos Panchos in the building owned by Tacos Panchos owner Carlos. And so my first arrival was there, and that was just temporary while I found a place to live. Then I lived in Colonia Emiliano Zapata, in up on the hill in, oh my God, the name of the street is escaping me. And I had a beautiful apartment up there. And I had a little bit of a view to the ocean, but I left that apartment after a year because the neighborhood was a little questionable, and the building itself, Jacarandas was the name of the street. The building itself was owned by questionable people that dealt with questionable substances and subsequently ended up getting killed. So then I moved to Loma del Mar, which is an apartment complex, a condo complex in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. And I lived in Loma del Mar for about 10 years, and I loved it because it was very centrally located. It was close to the beach. At the time, I was very busy with Vallarta Lifestyles magazine. There were a lot of clients in the neighborhood. So it was comfortable for me to be able to go to events and so forth and so on. But eventually, living in Loma del Mar got to be a little expensive. From there, I developed this sort of anxiety about leaving the neighborhood, and because it was kind of like breaking an umbilical cord. And my partner at the time and I found this apartment where I live in Colonia La Vena, where the rent was much lower and life was a lot more peaceful. And of course, I went through the same anxiety that our dear friend Logan went through while detaching from the neighborhood that we know and love. And this is the latest apartment in which I've lived. My partner and I severed our ties several years ago, and I kept the apartment. And here we are. So that is my very limited experience living around Puerto Vallarta. I couldn't be happier where I'm at. La Vena, particularly now that Versalles is starting to get busy and popular. And I am just across the street from the main avenue, so it's not so bad. Let's see what else we have. Papa. Karen comments, in Colonia Díaz Ordaz, you wouldn't even know it's Semana Santa. Isn't that wonderful? Is there a Spanish equivalent to the phrase, now you're just fucking with me? Well, that's specific. Yes, there is. Let me put it on the screen. And I'll put it on the screen in a question mark form. And that would be one of these. Me estás. There you go. 1, 2, 3, go. Let me embiggen this a little bit. Can I make this bigger? Yes. The equivalent in Spanish would be me estás cotorreando. Are you kidding with me? Are you joking with me? Me estás cotorreando? Are you pulling my leg? This is dinner table quality, so it's not bad language of any kind. Cotorrear, though, is a complicated word because cotorrear is to joke with someone. Cotorrear can mean an invitation to go screw. And by screw, you know what I mean. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But in this very specific context, it wouldn't mean, are you screwing me? It means, are you joking with me? So that would be the Spanish equivalent, Mark. I hope it serves you well. Let's see what else. Is it just a coincidence that every time cruise ships come to PV, there seems to be a lot of caca water on the beaches? I hope they are not doing anything illegal. Oh, good Lord. I certainly don't think that is something that is deliberately planned, Sly. It is, I don't know. No. It's no coincidence. I mean, it is a coincidence. It is, the caca water is not deliberate. I don't think there's an evil monger out there that says, ooh, there's a shitload of people in town. Let's give them some caca water for them to have fun with, and then opens a big valve. No, I don't think it works like that. Thank you for that info, Julie. Yes, it was about 1995 or 96 when the earthquake hit in town and the crown fell off the church. Let's see what else we have. Kimberly let us know that Las Animas Dog Rescue, they are amazing people that I am so happy to call friends. I am helping out there, out here for the first 10 days of my vacation and bringing another little rescue back to her new home in Ontario at the end of the month. It's doggy heaven up here. Kimberly, if Las Animas Dog Rescue has a Facebook page, there you go. They have a Facebook page if anyone is interested in adopting. There you go, friends. If anybody is interested in learning more about Las Animas Dog Rescue, just look for them on Facebook. I'll try to look for them and maybe add them to the show notes. Paula asks, does Puerto Vallarta have any venue for outdoor concerts? We have the amphitheater at Los Arcos, which is a small venue, of course. Sometimes when the city has organized outdoor concerts, they've built temporary stage and so forth on the Malecón. And it is quite likely that the city will do that at the end of May because our city is going through its anniversary as a city and as a municipality. And I know that a lot of concerts and activities will take place on the Malecón in the end of May. But other than that, we really don't have a specific venue for outdoor concerts. There have been outdoor concerts at the old bullfight rink and also at the Arena Vallarta where the charreada takes place. Let's see. Was there ever any plans for more Colonia Exploration? Yes, there are, and they are plans waiting to be executed. It's just a matter of making it happen. And thank you for the kick in the rear to make sure that I schedule another Colonia Exploration sometime in the near future, Alan. It is most appreciated. Gary comments on yesterday's broadcast. Appreciate the open discussion at the end regarding colorism, racism, judgments. It reminded me of a recent conversation where a woman commented it was not fair that men can wear the same clothes, but if a woman did that, they would be judged. This older man quietly mentioned that no man would judge a woman for her clothing. That judgment would come from another woman. Interesting. Um, that reminds me, at the beginning of Coffee and Headlines, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should wear the same clothes every day just for standard. Um, and then somebody commented, well, don't you ever wash your clothes? And I don't know, all these comments about clothes, just I don't get them. I never have, and I probably never will, particularly when they come from people that don't know one another. Let's see what else. Oh, wow. Tomorrow is the final day of business at Hacienda Le Mans restaurant after another long-standing business is closing, another high-rise luxury condo. Well, maybe that is unfortunate because Hacienda Le Mans was a very important restaurant and one that has been in the city for a long time. Pirim pam boom. A Burger King Whopper doesn't taste any better the next day for breakfast. That's good to know. I'll keep that in mind. Let's see what else we have. Catherine Russia. Kathy here, and I agree. I also never had a female tell me to smile. Very annoying to have my facial expressions policed to make others feel better. I may have missed something about that. There's another cue here. I often feel tremors while laying in bed. Could these be a fault line related? Well, we are in a fault line as far as I know, Marie, so these could be fault line related. Yes. Let's see. Paco, you live in the perfect spot of town. I know I do because I am near Siam of Los Tules, and I am near Whiskey Kitchen of Versailles. So I do live in the perfect spot of town. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Dave comments, I think Sly meant the ships are dumping overboard. You know, I have no idea how caca water is processed by cruise lines, and I'm sure there are documentaries out there, but that would be horrible to think that that's what cruise lines do with their disposal. Then adds to that, cruise lines get fined all the time for doing illegal dumping of sewage. Ew. Are they having, oh, good question. Are they having the crucifixion parade along the Malecon today? I have not seen a specific mention of this, Jonathan, but as far as I know, celebrations are back and allowed. So I wouldn't be surprised if something is being scheduled to happen today. I don't have specific information. Let's see what else we see. Da, 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 da. Suzanne confirms, yes, there will be condos at Hacienda Le Mans, I assume. If that is the case, what? El Rio BBQ is closing as well? Wow, that is sad news indeed. I didn't know that either. Let's see. Well, we were pretty much at the end. At the end of today, Cathy Picks pokes fun at her husband. Kathy just said that she feels tremors every night in bed. And we know, those of us that know Dan know that he has benign essential tremors. And what do you know? It's 11. So we had a fun broadcast after all, where we had a chance to clear out some questions about this, that, and the other, which is absolutely wonderful. So one more broadcast and we're done with another week, and we get to enjoy the rest of Semana Santa. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go into Encanto to catch a show tonight, and I thank you for all your questions today. These are very wonderful, very important questions, and it's also great to hear of updates that you share, and we love having information that you share. And speaking of sharing, Kimberly Field asks, how can I send you photos? You can use my email address, which you can find in the website, impactojeda.com, or you can just send them as part of a conversation through the Facebook chat of this particular page. And that brings us, yes, to the end of today. So I hope you have a great beginning of the weekend. I hope you have a great weekend planned. Remember to continue following the health guidelines, because those have not gone away, even though everybody seems to be a little relaxed about them. Just be mindful of yourself, take care of yourself and those that you love. Hope to see you again tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, hope to see you again sometime soon. Ciao.